Why didn't Chalukyas and Prathihars help Prithviraj Chauhan in the second battle of the Rhine? Did other Hindu kingdoms not care about what was happening in other kingdoms? How was Mahmud of Ghazni able to ride freely to Somnath temple and destroyed it? What were the Cholas and Pandyas doing? What was King Bhoj, Mihir Bhoj doing? I'm studying this history recently. Please correct me if I am wrong. Okay, so you've spoken about a lot of different kingdoms and dynasties from across India. You're talking about two different time periods. Ghazni is before and Ghori is after. So let me give you a big picture answer, a bird's eye overview of what was happening without going into specifics. At that period of time, India was not unified under a single uh, central command. When you had the Mauryan Empire under Lord Chandragupta Maurya, under Ashok Maurya, etc., we had unified control over the entire subcontinent from one place. Under the Kushan Empire, under Lord Kanishka, the whole of India was unified under a central rule. The same thing you saw during the Gupta era, and during the era also you had some of it, but it was mostly in southern parts of India, the southern half of India, and the whole of Southeast Asia. And of course, under people like under Emperor Lalitaditya, also you had most of India was unified. So when you have a unified geopolitical entity, the whole of the subcontinent is unified under one central leadership. That's when, if an invader comes, any foray or incursion into any part of India will be dealt with the combined force of the whole subcontinent. That's what happens. But when you have political fragmentation, then if you invade one part of India, then only the local king who is in charge or ruling that part of India will respond. That's how it goes. So there was a lack of political unity in this period of time. When you talk about the invasion of this guy Mahmud of Ghazni or the Battle of Tarain under Ghori, India was disunited. India was fragmented into small pieces, small kingdoms, and all of these kingdoms, they were the same people, of course, but they had these petty rivalries with each other. So if some kind of misfortune befalls one of them, the others would see it as a political advantage for them, and therefore they would not interfere, and they would let the misfortune continue. And the thinking or the calculation was that if something goes bad with this guy, maybe in the long run it'll be advantageous to me politically. Maybe it will help me extend my kingdom or get more political benefits from this. So, and they did not know, they did not have the benefit of hindsight. Today, we know what the intentions of these Turks were. It was not simply military conquest, it was not simply plunder, it was not simply the annexation of a kingdom, it was the complete cultural genocide of India that they sought. They sought to enslave millions of Indians, women, children, in most horrific ways, to ship them off to Central Asia and to the western parts beyond India and Persia, and use them in all kinds of horrific, degrading ways as slaves. And they sought to destroy India's culture, civilization, and religions. That's what they sought to do. At that time, our local petty kings and chieftains did not know this, right? And therefore, it was not seen as a threat to dharma. It was just seen as some invader coming in, harassing one of my rivals. So let it happen. Hone do. And the Cholas and the Cholas at the time were dealing with Southeast Asia. They had an enormous maritime empire there, and therefore maybe they did not even know, perhaps, possibly, what was happening in the northern part of India. And they were confident and secure in the knowledge that they were incredibly powerful and they could deal with anything. So if it comes here, we'll deal with it. Until that time, let it be. It's not my problem. So that is the kind of unfortunate thinking that was there. That is what happens when you have political disunity. You have political fragmentation, and that's why I always keep saying that when you have a nation that is at the scale of a subcontinent, you need very strong central leadership. The nation has to be administered centrally. Right now, in 21st century India, you have too much democracy, too much federalism. Each of the states has too much power. And many of the states are acting against the national interest in a variety of ways. I will not give you specifics because I don't want to get into that controversy. But I think if you have half a brain, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that's the situation. That's the kind of situation you had 1,000 years ago. And that's why the other Hindu kingdoms, they knew what was happening. They didn't care. They said, Hone do, it is good for us because it's bad for him. In the long run, we will benefit. So they allowed it to happen, which is not the kind, which is the kind of petty approach that destroys civilizations. So, so at that time, none of these kingdoms, none of these kings or chieftains thought on a subcontinental civilizational scale, unfortunately. So that's why all these things happened.